welcome to the eSeniors GT3 Porsche Cup race being held this week at Silverstone. Bit of a pre-warning for tonight. If I go quiet for a second, I am getting over a bit of a spluttery cough, so I'll either go quiet to cough or I'll be going quiet to take a drink, but hopefully I'll remember to mute so you don't get to me spewing my guts up a little bit, so sorry about that. Quite a full grid tonight actually. 24 cars are going to be racing, which should make it pretty eventful if the GT4 race last night was anything to go by. A few things to consider on this track. Track limits is pretty harsh. A couple of corners, mainly Club and Abbey, go wide. The chances are you will get a warning. There was a couple of drive-throughs on the GT4 race yesterday as a result of track limits. But you know, let's see how the race unfolds. I've no real idea on where this is going to go, but I do think the front is going to be covered probably between Mr. Bird and Mr. Van Brabant, which is pretty regular, pretty usual. The question mark then is really who's going to come up beyond them. A couple of other, regular drivers to that are the likes of Mr. Bourne. You've also got Bywater, who can always put a good time in, but this car's a bit of a beast. Pollitt's another good one as well. So, I think you can probably say the top five are going to be from amongst them drivers, really. So I think it's going to be really interesting how this is going to span out. And ironically, there's already been an incident in qualifying, so I hope that doesn't bode well for the race, to be honest. It is nice to keep these clean, and hopefully everyone gets off well. The start yesterday was really good until we got to the which was through to Vale, and then it just started bunching up a little bit, and I did make contact, although I was cut up, so there's nothing I could do about it. And then consequently I ended up getting hit while I was waiting and more or less ruined my race. But woe is me, at the end of the day it is only a game, no one gets hurt, it doesn't cost you money, so that's the way I tend to look at it. It's a bit of escapism. It's nice when you win, it's nice when you pass somebody, but if you don't, it's not the end of the world. No toys to throw out the pram. We are all adults at the end of the day, we're doing this for the love of the game and the fun it gives. While people have been stuck in the house during the pandemic that's been going on, I think it's been really good. Met some fantastic people, albeit virtually, and it's one of them that you can probably go to many places in the world and almost bump into any of these guys, and they're probably all greet you with welcoming arms, to be honest. I certainly would if anyone come over towards where I live, but maybe that's just me, the type of guy I am. Hi Natty, as usual, you've obviously been sitting there waiting. Yeah, I'm ready to see some good racing too. Hopefully it's entertaining, enthralling. I hope you can hear me clearly. I am using a different mic today. I'm using my freestanding mic because as well as a cold cough, I've also got a serious back problem which has been causing me no end of problems. I've not been sleeping with it, and my headphones are just out of reach, and I'm not going to stretch because I'm just going to hurt myself. So yeah, that's the reason why I've got my freestanding mic, but hopefully you can hear me. I've tried to set it up the same as my old one, so the sound effects, the sound quality should be very, very similar. It's a decent mic, to be fair, so hopefully you can hear me clearly. As I've been doing recently, a little bit of fun. So, on board here with Derek. Derek is up a little bit. He is currently in pole. He's being followed by Mr. Wood. And Van Brabant is third, and Bywater and Pollitt are fourth and fifth. So I certainly got 4 of the top 5 right. I'm, you know, obviously still a bit of qualifying left to go, 8 minutes, so anything really could happen. Problem with the car on this track is obviously the lack of traction control. I want to get the drive out of the corner. So what I'll do is I'll do a bit of a, if Derek stays on track and goes over the start finish line, I know he's just done that, I'll do a bit of a track tour really and talk you through it and try to explain some of the tricky corners that I've caught a few people out. Welcome Don, Kevin. Yeah, Nikos has been doing quite a few skins for a number of drivers. That's his own Porsche. He's given me a few actually. He's kept me busy doing little videos, and I've got quite a few lined up. And depending on the race we're doing, I'm going to try and do one, if I've got enough, each race. It just adds to it really and lets people see what the cars look like. Obviously from my stream I've got the skins so you'll see them. If you're in the race and you're watching a replay, say by somebody else, you'll just see his basic car. So I just thought it was a nice opportunity to see cars that have been done outside of the game. So they've been done outside of a Assetto Corsa Competizione, and the skins have been manually created in a graphics package, and we won't be going around with Derek. So let's pick on car. Who should we pick on? We'll pick on Shane because he's midway through a lap at the moment. Okay. So yeah, what I've tried to do is just do a few little scoots of the liveries, and I'm not doing ones that I've done in game because obviously anybody can do them. Some of the colours are nice to be fair in some of the schemes, but the ones that I've done outside of the game where they put their own decals on them, some of them are really nice. And I say I've got a number of them now, and it's keeping me busy getting these little clips done, merging the sound, putting the names on, and then I don't know if you noticed, the names are in the colour of the country as well. So again, little details. So we've got Shane coming down the straight, and this takes into Cops. So this one, obviously you want to go around as fast as possible, but if you drift you will hit track limits. And then this is going to take him into quite a tricky little chicane type of thing called Maggots. You can take a lot of the curb on both sides here and then drift the car right, and then again keep the power on almost and cut the corners in both of these, and that takes us into Beckett's. And then we're Chapel curve a little bit and then fly down the hanger straight. So this is a case of getting your foot down, going for it, picking your braking point and try to get the car to turn in but keeping the power down, and that takes us into Stowe. You'll see he'll let the power down, then he'll put the power on as soon as possible without going over track limits, which I think he's done there. He's now at Vale, and he'll brake hard into this corner, which is known as Club. Again, another tricky one. Now, if you get the power wrong here or you drift wide, the left-hand side will give you a track limit warning and probably a warning penalty as well. That's probably the most common one. We're on the Hamilton Straight into Abbey, now into the Farm curve, and then we come to a little tricky right-hander called Village. Sharp right and then another sharp left, which is the Loop. He's lost a little bit of balance of the car there. And this takes us into Aintree. And he's now on the Wellington Straight again, where you can get the power down, hit your braking point into the final bit section, which is Brooklands. Try to keep it as close to the edge here so you can keep the power through. And the right-hander, which is Luffield. Hit your acceleration point, try and straighten out as much as possible through Woodcote. And then when to start finish straight, which is where we started the lap. So that's your lap guide. So Silverstone is in Northamptonshire. More or less central in England, if you like. That's probably the best way to describe it. 5.8 kilometres and 3.6 mile. So it's quite a decent track, but it is renowned for being a quick track as well, actually, regardless of the cars you're in. And even the Indy track is a really nice track if you ever wanted to race something like a Ginetta or a Formula Ford, Formula Renault type of car, because that's quite a handy, comfortable track, that. So Chris Bourne's currently in pole, as you can see, and Carlo is tracking him, but Derek is on a bit of a flyer here. So Derek, as it stands, could be about to steal pole. So he's nearly a second up, and he's only 6/10 behind Chris Bourne. So looking good for Derek. He's obviously got his tyres nailed on a little bit. So he's 0.8. He did lose a touch bit of time. He's managed to keep it within track limits there. He's just started losing a bit of time. As he stands, I think he's going for second place at the moment. If he can keep this right, you can see he's unfortunately over-rotated the car there a little bit, and that scrubbed all his time. So with 2 minutes left to go, we've currently got Chris Bourne in pole with a 2:03.2. That's a very respectable time, to be fair. Probably one of the quickest I've seen. Carlo Van Brabant with a 2:03.7. Again, that's another good time. 2:03s are really what you're aiming for on this track. But obviously that's for the aliens, to be fair. We'd then get Derek, who's 2:04.4, and Jonathan Wood, who's a 2:04.7, and Shane Pollitt, who's a 2:04.9. We've then got about 10 drivers in the 2:05s. We've then got 2 drivers in the 2:06s, and then from that point on we've got drivers in the 2:07s onwards. So a good split across the field, to be fair. I think there's going to be a case of a few battles around the front, middle and rear of the track. We've now got to 25 races on track as well, so we've gained another car. I think Robert Abando's joined. Hi Melvin, welcome to the stream. Got 1 minute left to go, so you've timed that really, really well. Obviously looking forward to the action. Hopefully there'll be plenty. So a couple of cars you can see have gone off there. 888 I think is Willie. He always picks the same number. And I missed the other car. I'm not hoping for too many incidents, to be honest. As I said, I think the last race I did, the incidents just racked up and racked up and racked up, and it got really difficult trying to keep on top of them. So you can see the car 88 and car 97, Jeremy and Terry, they haven't touched, they've just lost traction on the track. So I think a few drivers, even in qualifying, are pushing the limits a little bit, which is causing them to lose a bit of traction on the track. Hi David, welcome to the stream. I've got my window open tonight as well because it started warming up a little bit here. Not 16 degrees like it has been. I will say it's not the tropics that some people have been bathing in, and it's certainly not like Germany where the weather's been absolutely atrocious. Very unfortunate events in Germany there. I was thinking about some of our German, fellow racers, hoping they were all right. Obviously, we've not heard anything from any of them as being an issue. So hopefully, all said and done, things are all right there at the moment. But yeah, unfortunate series of events there with the flooding and costing lives. The flooding was that severe. But the weather's an absolute nightmare. I was watching a video yesterday of it snowing in Italy, and I thought it must have been at Christmas time. It wasn't, it was yesterday. I just couldn't believe it, and I thought, the world's upside down. But hey, what do I know? Chris Bourne's looking to push his lead a little bit more here, and he could get to 2:02s. I don't think I've seen a 2:02. But let's see how he pulls this out the bag. He's currently nearly half a second up. Carlo's going quicker, but Carlo's only better in his own time, really. He's not threatening Chris's time. A couple of cars are on track. I hope they get out of the way before Chris turns up and arrives. He's going to be coming at a rate of knots. Yeah, he's over half a second up. still coming together. He's still up. He's still looking at a sub 202 here. Sub 203, sorry. He's 6/10 up. Drive looks pretty good out of here. Switching between 6/10 and 7/10. So he is on an absolute flyer. No one's going to touch him. If he can race like this, he's going to walk it. His angle to that corner looked completely different to everybody else's actually. Noticing his angles into the corners there. A lot of them tend to keep right and drift into the left. He drifts into the left immediately. And there you go, a 202.8, new fastest lap. Okay, quick rattle down the grid because we're obviously running out of time. Chris Bourne first, Van Brabant second, Bird third, Wood fourth, Pownell fifth, Pollitt sixth, Bywater seventh, Hopkins 8, Trowbridge 9, and bringing up the rear in the 10th place is Britos. Then we've got Arabas 11th, Jacobs in 12th, Schaefer in 13th, Vitala in 14th, Petterson in 15th, Benchea 16th, Lingham 17th, Wyman 18th, Dealove 19th, and Santo again coming up the rear in 20th, Buckley 21st, Margaritis 22nd, Souza 23rd, Owens, who I don't think is taking part, in 24th, and Abando in 25th. And the reason why I say he's not taking part is either typing in the stream and racing, or he's just watching the stream. Hi Willie, anyway. There we go. No one ghosting through. Well, couple trying it. Hopefully we'll have a really clean start. Hopefully, I'm praying for it. Okay, let's see how it goes. Lights out and away we go. Bourne's got a fantastic drive off there, and so is Bird. Interesting to see if Bird can keep that line. There's already been a bit of an incident involving Jacobs, and I think it is Vitala. I'm not going to jump back to that because obviously we're just starting the race off. There's been a bit more of an incident further back actually. So let's just jump back. Car 763 is Wyman. So Wyman's the turquoise and red car. There was a bit of contact here between himself and another driver. I don't know if someone got out of control. Looks like there's contact there. He's ever so slightly nudged Jacobs in front there. And you can see there was a spinner there that actually looked like, but I don't think it was, Derek Bird. Someone who drives a similar coloured car. They'd obviously gone off track as well. Okay, so back to live again. You can see that settle the grid down. And there's still incidents going on. While they're trying to sort out what's going on with this battle. There's a few things going on towards the back as well here. Jump towards the back a little bit. Bit of action here. Oh, and there's contact there. So that was a bando on looks like Margaritis. Ever so slight. It's registered, but it's not caused any incident there. So I think that's Fatala in the golden red, and there's been another incident. So again, it looks like it was Wyman. So let's see what's happened with Mr. Wyman again. 3 abreast. Never a good sign. Took a good corner there. He spun out. Oh, and he's already took a non-moving target out, which I believe was Neil Bywater. But Neil Bywater must have been taken out earlier on, if I'm reading that right. Car 38. Yeah, I think that's Neil Bywater. So you can see there, Neil's back with Mark Wyman. And that's going to be a challenge now for Neil coming through the grid. Hopefully he's not received too much damage. And consequently he can carry on racing. I do expect him to go through this field quite quickly, to be honest. Because he was one of the front runners. It would be interesting to see if I could go back. There's been another incident. Car 420, which is a bando. So let's go to see what's going on there. Hopefully, as I said, these are going to calm down a little bit. So bando's the orange. And it took place with Ben Chea. I think Ben Chea is in the green Porsche behind. And then you've got Petterson behind that. And that was just rather too late at braking, I think it's fair to say there. Putting my diplomatic head on, shall I say. I think it's fair to say in relation to that. Okay, so I'm going to jump forward. I'm going to go live and back to Carlo. Because Carlo is caught up. There was a bit of a gap. I must have pressed the wrong button there, my apologies. I pressed the replay button rather than the live button. Sorry about that. There's carnage going on. Wyman's been involved in yet another incident at the back. I don't know if he's just gone off. I can't keep up with them. There's another few incidents come through in 1 second. 4 incidents literally in the space of a second. So obviously I can't go through all them, but you can see the car 300 and 763 are really struggling at the back. 300 is Petterson and 763 is Wyman. So something's obviously gone wrong there, and I think the issues are going to be in the middle section of the track really. People seem to have problems negotiating the middle section where you come close to try and get the benefit into the corner. I'm just trying to see how Bywater's doing. So Bywater's making good progress as I anticipated. I'm just going to jump on board with Neil. You can see in front of him, that looks like Vitala and a bando, Robert and PJ. So Robert's in the orange. Be careful that he doesn't get a track limits warning. Obviously we won't get to see that. But you can see the speed difference there. His angles are so tight and so clean in comparison. You can see PJ's been hit as well. Ooh, Neil nearly got him again there. I'll say Neil got him the first time, but I think you can see Neil got very, very, very close. Is he going to get him up the inside? I don't know what his wing is, but looking at the drive he got there, he's got some really good braking and a decent wing. I think he's going to carve through this lot. Definitely the man on a mission at the moment, I think it's fair to say. Yeah, Kevin, carnage on lap 1. You know the feeling. I did say I didn't want them. I'm just looking at the incident log here. The same car has occurred 4-5 times. And it looks like Wyman's gone off again. In fact, Wyman's gone into the pit, so his car must be damaged. I've got a feeling there could be a couple of complaints being lodged against a driver tomorrow. Oh, I'm going to do a replay on that. I'm not really sure where the situation is in relation to what caused that, because to me, the inside line I don't think had been claimed Now it's obvious Neil's the quicker driver because he's catching them up here. You can see the braking is totally different. He's going around the outside. Yeah, he's upset. Yeah. Vitala was just a passenger there. So the car's all over the place. I think it's fair to say he was given a bum steer there, if I'm brutally honest. But I'm not going to say that's racing, but it is racing, certainly in the eSeniors. Okay, I've just changed to the relative times now. We're into a couple laps in. Evening, Dave. Welcome to the stream. I'm just going to jump on board with Kai, because Kai's a man on a mission at the moment. He's chasing down Britos. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That one car has been involved in 6 incidents. Another car has been involved in 4 incidents. Okay, so I don't think that's acceptable, personally. You know, you've got the same car coming up, causing incidents. Now, I'm not saying that person's guilty of all of them, but I've seen a couple of them involving that car, and yeah, I think it's fair to say some of them are driving could have been better, could have been more careful and considerate. But if incidents don't get logged, no penalties get given. See, Kai's got a good, very good clean run here. Just going to jump on board with Neil. Neil's trying to catch Willie here. I think he's just took Willie in the white Porsche behind him, and I think he's now after Sousa. Keeping my eye on Kai just to see how Kai's getting on. Lost a bit of ground, Kai. And I don't think it's going to take Neil too long to catch Sousa. Then it gets interesting, because that means Neil's then against Michelle. Well, let's see where this takes us anyway. Just looking at... Oh, I think PJ's had a bit of an incident. I think he spun off, lost a bit of time, but there's no accident lodged. I'm going to jump on board with Robert. Have I missed it? Oh, he was gaining too fast. I saw the clock coming down. He was catching Willie up. It was just too fast for me to react and catch up with. So I missed that again. The time it didn't reflect the time as quickly as he caught him. Just going to jump on board with Michelle. Michelle's with Mike Dearlove. So again, it's about drive here. Car 46 has gone off, which is PJ Vitala. So he's definitely got some control issues there. So this is the corner. If you put your foot down, you will get a warning. I know, because I got one last night in the GT4 race. It's not. It doesn't give you any forgiveness. That you've got to take your foot off the accelerator at least for it to register as a non-warning incident. If you keep your foot planted, it will penalise you. Kai's had an incident. No accident though. He looks like he's just lost control. Chris Bourne up front is putting qualifying lap times in, which is really reassuring for everybody else. I did say I think he's going to walk this. Not quite walking it. It's not a stroll in the park, but he has created a gap between himself and Carlo. I do think the way this battle's going on is going to be interesting. Car 73's gone off track. That's Buckley. It looks like he's gone wide, but he's back on track again now. Again, track limits there. Not too sure where he'd get a warning, because he was accelerated onto it, as opposed to keeping his foot planted. They're a very good run here though. This is not really the sort of place you want to be looking for a pass. And you can see Mike's angles there. Very defensive. Likewise there. This is going to end up in tears. Oh, told you. None of us saw that coming, did we? None of us at all. Oof. It was nearly unsafe rejoin. Wow. Yeah. Jump on board with Neil. Neil's passed, I think, Sousa. Has he? Can't tell because I can't see Sousa. There he is alongside him. Yeah, Kev, I think you can give him a go-kart, you know. You can give him a go-kart, he'll beat everybody. He just seems to be able to get the maximum out of anything. I think we need to give him a bit of a bop penalty, me. And bring him on par with everybody else. He still runs us with a bop penalty, God help us. But yeah, certainly some fast drivers. And to be fair, you know, it's nice to have them amongst us because, you know, the speed some of these guys drive, you're wondering, you know, could they be in? I mean, we want our league to be ultimate, really, but you know, some of the televised esports leagues, but I don't see many for the. That's a sideways, Carlo there. That means Bird's gone through on Carlo. Nice clean pass, but I think that was as a result of the power. So you can see Carlo got the power slide on there, which allowed Derek to pass him. So it was a really good time, and I saw the time coming up. Didn't think he was going to pass him that easy. Just going to jump on board with Ruben. Ruben's very close to Robert, and he's been gaining a lot of time quickly. So I don't know whether Robert's now got a problem, and consequently he is getting picked off one by one. He's been involved in a couple of incidents, Robert, and I don't know if his car's damaged. We'll just have to wait to see what happens in relation to that. Okay, you can see car 46 has gone off. That is Vitala again, so he's really struggling. 314, Kai has gone off track again. Got himself back going again. PJ's really struggling. It looks like he can't get the power down in the car, which makes me think he's actually damaged. He's back up to speed now, but he's not on the track. He's off track. Looking at his... he's on track now. I don't know whether he just went wide and he's trying to get the car back on track again. A couple of surprises on the grid, and I'm not sure to do with whether damage has caused them. But Andreas towards the back of the grid at the moment. I did see Andreas, I think he got contact early on, and that pushed him down towards the back. Some guys having a really good race though. And I say this every week, believe it or not. But over time, you see, because I do this, I get to see drivers on a regular basis. And one thing you get to see is how consistent some are. But you also get to see how some drivers improve. And, you know, a race last night, I had a bit of an altercation with Sousa at the Australia track. And, you know, I held my hands up. I was in the complete wrong, apologised. Anyway, you know, we're all best friends again now and stuff like that. You know, if I make a mistake, I'm never too big to admit it. And I will openly do it in public. You know, I've no problem in that. But over the course of time, you watch these drivers, and I'm just going to pick on Sousa here in a very positive manner. So Sousa, week in, week out, I think even on some of the streams that I haven't done, he was renowned for going off track, and you know, he was the grass cutter. And it's all about stability, this, and you could see he was pushing the car to the limits, and it was causing him to go off track. As each race has gone on, it's got less and less and less. And what it means is he's now holding his own midfield. Now, yesterday in the GT4, I started at the back, and I had to battle my way through. Well, battle my way to the back first of all, to the back running cars. That took me a number of laps. But I caught up with, it was Sousa, it was Owens, and it was Miles, Peter Miles. And what I noticed was, first of all, the lines we took were all different, and that's understandable. If you're in a faster group, you're in a faster group for a reason. Your lines tend to be better, your braking points tend to be better, where you put the power down tend to be better. I'm not going to say the setup helps you there really. A lot of it's down to the driving. You know, yeah, granted the setup is tweaked, but it's not far off safe setup from my perspective. Anyway, I caught these guys up. You know, no mean feat in itself. But I'll tell you what was damn hard, passing them. So I could catch them 2 seconds a lap. But once I got behind them, I couldn't pass them really easy. I was looking for mistakes. Now the forcing of mistakes is hard because you've got to almost get yourself into the other driver's mind and say, how can I force them to make a mistake? What I tend to do is follow the driver for a couple of laps, you know, and if you've ever had me behind, you'll see a look at where you are, and I'll pick my moments on when I'm going to take you. Because these drivers don't drive, I would say, the lines I would drive, it kind of catches you out a little bit. And it's not in a bad way, it's in a really good way, because you don't think they're going to go where they're going to go. So you go behind them a few times, and what happens is you learn. So you think, okay, if I can get a better drive out of that corner, they can't take the angle they took before. And I did it with Sousa on one of the corners, and he held his line brilliantly. And I thought, he's got me again here. But I think he knew, because I was on the inside, I was going to outbrake him. So I think he broke a second later. And that split second braking just meant him run off track a little bit. And, you know, his race yesterday was absolutely fantastic. I commented to him at the end, you know, a private message to him and said, that was absolutely brilliant. He personally still thinks he's coming off track too many times. But I will say, he's improved massively, you know. And if you look now, he's still in 15th place. And he's pushing Mike Dearlove. You know, Mike's been racing quite a while in this group. And I will say, he's probably usually further up the field than that. And he's got Sousa breathing down his neck. And Sousa's keeping himself ahead of Hopkins. Now, week in, week out, Hopkins has really proven to be a really good racer as well. So he's not battling to stay there. He's staying there on his own merit. Now, what I was just about to say, it looks like Hopkins has caught Sousa, but I don't think he has. I'll just switch just in case. No, he hasn't. Because the timing screen was showing it incorrect. I'm just going to read the chat a little bit. Kev, totally agree. Sousa has to be the nomination of most determined and most... You know what, Kev? If there was an award for most improved driver, actually there's a couple of them. And one of them, Sword and Keyboard, he is actually on track. He jumped onto the stream, but he is on track. Week in, week out, these guys try the hardest, as most of the drivers do. Willie's case, he admits he's not a fast driver, but he's getting, slowly but surely, he's getting quicker, he's getting consistent, he's passing people, and he nearly passed me yesterday in the KTM because I went off a little bit, and I thought he's going to pass me, and if he'd have passed me, it'd have been on merit, but he didn't choose to do that because he said, well, I wanted to sit and follow you to see how you're doing it. And I thought, that's really clever, that. He'll sit behind me, see how I'm doing my lines, and copy. But he said, you were just too quick. Now that's fair comment. He only has to learn one corner to be faster. And he's faster in general. And if he follows a couple of corners, he gets faster in general. And again, KTM's not the fastest. But it's an easy car to drive. Hi Steve, welcome to the stream. Just having a bit of a chin wag around, you know, improved drivers. The field's looking a little bit split at the moment. I'm just going to jump on board with Merce, because Merce has caught up Shane here. I will say, if you ever get a chance, when Merce is racing either the GT4 BMW or the GT3 BMW, jump in the car with him. It's mesmerising. When I first raced with Merce, when he first joined, I actually thought, and I'm being open, you know, I actually thought his driving style was quite, I'm not going to use the word reckless, but negative towards other drivers. But if you sit in the car with him when he's racing, he's absolutely a different person. His car control is amazing. He must have that car so loose that it must roll by itself. Because ultimately, from his perspective, he wants the car to go the fastest. His challenge is keeping the car on track. And he always seems to have the car in every single corner on that ragged edge. And he's hitting it at 99% out of 100. And he knows he's only got 2% shift and he's off. But you'll see him do it week in, week out. You know, and I think I've called him out before today, and he wasn't very happy about it. But the guy is absolutely awesome in the car, the way he drives it. I'm going to switch to Kenneth. Kenneth's actually catching Bruce, so you can see here. I think it was Bruce who spun out before, and I thought I said it looks like a car similar to Derek Bird's. Yeah, I know what you're saying, Steve. I think, you know, the group wanted splitting up when we had the Fridays. There was a lot of it's funny actually, because there was a lot of negatives about people saying, well, the faster drivers this or the slower drivers that. So we introduced the group 3. The number of people who are now saying, can we please bring back that other group? Oh, this could be damage. Oh, that could be big serious damage there for Kenneth. It looks like he's really hit the wall quite a lot. I'm going to jump back on board with Jack. And I think looking at the groups now, you wonder whether some of the drivers who initially were perceived as slow, because Nikos going very slow there for some reason, were perceived as slow, are actually quicker than they think. And I do think you're right. If they go in a group of faster drivers, are they going to improve? I don't think you improve going faster. Inevitably, you will improve going faster. But what I mean is, you'll go faster because you pick up people's braking points. You'll pick up people's turning in. One thing I noticed yesterday with the 3 guys I was racing with at the back of the grid was one corner I was taking completely different to all of them, and it was the corner where I nearly nailed them every single time. I say nearly because they would just come across the track, so I couldn't really pass them. But you could see the difference in drive I was getting compared to them, and that's the difference in basically taking a car on a straight and not. So I think it's important that they do get the opportunity to race with the fast guys. Now in the Porsche Cup, this is exactly what they're doing. In the GT4, that's exactly what they're doing. I think the GT4 is a bit of a falsehood though, because you can't fling the GT4s around the track this speed into the corners. So it's a slower game. Therefore, in theory, you've got less incidents to consider, less things to worry about, because you've got more time to think about your actions. Anyway, there's been no incidents for a number of laps. So we're on lap 11. There's been no incidents since lap 6. And we can see car 314, which is Kai, has gone off again. You can see Jack got took by Jeremy there. Jeremy's now hunting down, it looks like, Danny. So let's see where this takes us. Again, be very careful that corner. That's the track limits. I want to see if anyone gets a drive-through tonight. I think there's a couple of drive-throughs yesterday. I think I even spotted a stop and go. Hi Malcolm. Who's winning? Mr. Bourne. He's pretty fair to say his qualifying time was sub-exotic, and his race time, which is a 2:03, is equally sub-exotic. He was being followed and kept up with by Carlo, but Carlo made a mistake and got a bit of a, I wouldn't say a tank slapper, but he drifted a little bit around the corner, which opened the door for Derek, and Derek's a hard guy to pass at the best of times. So at the moment, the top 3, I'll put the charts on for you. You can see Bourne quite easily in first. He's actually 7 seconds ahead of the next car. Derek and Carlo, they're very close with each other. They're within a second, and then there's a gap of 17 seconds between Wood. Pollitt's 6 seconds behind Wood, and Paunov is 1 second behind Pollitt. I think there's been another off. Again, no incident. That was car, I don't know whether that's Sousa actually. Can't tell. It might have been Sousa, he's just gone wide. Your point's perfectly valid, Steve. You know, it's one of the. I think Willie makes this comment. He says, "Don't race the car, race yourself." He says, if you race yourself, you shouldn't get any worried about any car trying to pass you. You're just racing yourself. The problem is when you're racing and you see a car behind you, inevitably you slow down. because you start defending. If you don't give a monkeys about the car behind you, it should just equally be fast. So it's quite a good lesson, an interesting lesson. You know, you shouldn't have to go defensive if you're fast. If the car behind you is faster anyway, so be it. But on board with Jeremy at the moment. He's close to Danny, and Jack Jacobs is close to him. So if we just go to the rear cam of Jeremy, as you can see, Jacobs is giving him a bit of a run. So quite a good battle this. Melvin absolutely does consistency. And I think I said this to Willie actually. It's no good pumping in one really fast lap, then 5 slow ones. But you can pump in... Oh, I thought he was going to take him then. But you can pump in consistent laps. You'll probably end up in a better position. But I don't know if Jack's going to get him down here. Depends on his drive. As it stands... Oh, bit of late braking there. Well, let's see where this is going to take us. Again, I'm looking on the grid. This is the battle at the moment, and it's the battle for 8th place, which is currently being held by Danny. Car 73 is off track, and that's Buckley. Again, it looks like he's spun out. It wasn't an incident. It just involved himself. Not much we can do about that. Merce is still close with Pollitt, but let's just jump on board with Merce a little bit. I think there's going to be a pass coming up here in a minute. It's all about getting the corners right and getting the drive right. You can see the angle straight away from Merce there. Means he should get a good bit of power out of this corner if he can make sure he doesn't drift it wide. Neither of them do. Brilliant driving that. Brilliant driving. Bit of a tank slapper there. I was saying though, drives the car so much on the edge. Yeah, if you're watching compared to say Carlo and Derek, style's so different, and yet they can run the same, you know, not the same speed, but it's very, very close in relation to timings. Still quite on the old incident front, which is what I like to see. Can't keep up with them sometimes. I'm just trying to keep my eye on what's going on. Just going to jump forward a touch. Because Carlo is catching ever so slightly Derek. But I am looking at Jack, hold on. Jack's catching Jeremy up here. I know we've been watching this one a little bit, but I wonder if he's learned his lessons in the braking points, because he went wide before and it lost him a bit of time. I think it was this corner actually. He's held on a little bit more here. Jeremy's angle's really good there. Cracking racing going on all over the track. Just going to jump back to Kenlingham. Ben's trying to take Monsanto out here and pass him. Not take him out, but pass him. Car number 1, which I think is Michelle, has gone off. And he's now in the pits. Oh, Monsanto's gone. Okay, so that means Kenneth moves up. Look forward to Jeremy. Jeremy's still close with Daniel. I sound a bit repetitive here, don't I? Same names, same events, same situations. Got a good run here though. Got a very good run here. Tell you what, he's protecting that line really well, Danny, there. He knew exactly where to stick his car. Really good good lines there to observe. I don't think Group 3 is going anywhere, Steve. There's a couple of ideas for next season. They still need to be ratified, really. But everything will be run by the group first. A couple of suggestions that have been made are about not having a race every week, a championship race every week. So have a 1 week race, then a week off, and in that week off we can do warm-ups. And as a result of the warm-ups, obviously we can have mixed cars, but we can do different things. You know, We can have grids where we've got the GT3s, the GT4s, and we can have races within the grids. So just a couple of different ideas, really. I don't know whether it'll work. I think it'd be nice to see the difference, and I think nice to also get some different weather, random weather, nighttime races, some endurance races. Now, when I mean endurance, I'm not talking your 3-hour shifts. I'm talking, you know, short time period races, really. Again, you can just back to the race in a second, and you can see from here the gap's very, very close. Carlo's still putting pressure on Derek, but he's not eating into too much time there. Yeah, and I think the other ideas, and again, these are all just ideas in the air, don't take them by gospel and say that's what's happening, because that's not the case. It's all got to be agreed. Is the groups as they are quite overloaded. So Group 1 has got a lot of drivers in it. Group 2's got drivers in it. Group 3 is the lightest group. As a result of that, what I think would be better is if the groups are evened out. So your Group 2, your Group 1 and your Group 3 have got equal numbers as cars off there. Right, let's just have a look at car 300, who is Andreas, and there's been an incident. So I'm just going to go to Andreas and see what's gone on here. So Andreas has already got damage. You can see on his car there. His bonnet's already up and probably flapping. That's Monsanto. That just looks like Monsanto didn't brake, and consequently that's just knocked him. So he's not only got a flapping front end, he's now got a flapping back end as well, by the looks of it. Unfortunate. I think it's fair to say he's having a bit of a nightmare run in this race. As we join back live, he's still struggling getting on the track. I think his car's really struggling. There's a good battle going on here. So we've got Sousa chasing Lingham down. Jeremy's still gaining on Danny, but again they keep breaking space a little bit. So Sousa, who we're talking about before, you can just see he just looks a more complete driver. That's a cracking dive up the inside. I thought he was going for it then. Just about to switch to Helicam. Yeah, I think you've walked, it's fair to say, Steve. Group 3. Oh, that was unfortunate. That was unfortunate. Just let's go back 10 seconds. And let's go to the Helicam. I don't know whether Lingham there broke early because of D-Love in front of him. I'm not too sure. Anyway, I didn't do a replay because there was only 10 seconds replay there. But I think that's probably upset Lingham's race. Not too sure whether Sousa's took the place in front of him or not. Can't see at the moment. No, it looks like Sousa's carried on. Right, so where is the action at? Again, struggling to find the action now because it seems to have backed off a little bit. There's no close battles. Let's jump on board with Carlo, because Carlo is still chasing down, and it looks like they've got Willie to contend with. I think that's Willie in front of them, the back marker. So I'll just jump on board with. Yeah, it's Willie. So Willie usually gets straight out of the way and lets them race. It's a difficult one, isn't it? Where do you go on the track? Because if you've already tried to make your way to an easy pass, I think Willie got that spot on, to be fair. He's letting them carry on. So this battle's going to carry on, which is really good. I was going to say, Malcolm, isn't that a little bit rich? Sorry. You win most weeks as well. I'll tell you what I would like to see. Howells and Hutchin. Now then, there's a battle. Not I'm going to say anything, but I think that's a really good option, that. Hutchins and Howell, but unfortunately, I think Hutchin's going to be in Group 1. And that is a baptism of fire, let me tell you. I say, from going to Group 2 and finishing second in Group 2, going to Group 1, you just... I didn't think I'd be out of my depth as much as I am. But I think Yeah, consistency is the key. You mentioned that before, and it is good fun, but you just know you're never going to be as fast as them guys, and no matter how you look at it, you've just got to race your own race. I think you're winning though, Kev, out at Malk, aren't you? You're winning the group, or am I misunderstanding that? I know Kev Forrest has had some good runs as well. We're catching up Nikos here. Nikos is just going to let him by. Mercy's still putting pressure on Pollitt. It looks like Wood has got a very, very clear third place in the bag here if he doesn't make any mistakes. This battle's still going on. Okay, so let's just broke up a little bit. We're getting just pulled away a little bit here, Annie. Second. Nothing much going on track now. Just looking at car spacings. Really nothing at all. What's that one there? We've got car 66 and car 46. That's for Tala and Nikos. So I think they're racing, but the speed difference is completely different. The next one is car 30, which is Souza. He's just gone wide, and he's been passed by. I can't work out who's that who's just gone past him. Oh, that was Wood, the back marker. Sorry, Wood passing the back marker. So Wood in the silver green Porsche. He's having a very, very easy race, I think. Well, no race is easy, but there's not much in his way, I think it's fair to say. So back on board with Carlo. This is the closest battle we've got on the whole grid. I did say Neil Bywater will move up the field from being almost last as a result of an incident at the start. He's currently in 9th. He is gaining on Jacobs. Keep in mind it because it looks like he's gaining on him. I wouldn't say a rate of knots, but he is gaining on him, possibly 0.2 a lap. He was 1.6, he's now 1.3. Jump on board with Bywater. And number 38 SDR Porsche. He's done well. Even though it's a fast track, this, I still think it's a hard track to pass. That could be a pair of warnings for the pair of them. Still no drive-throughs though. They're managing to get away with it. As I said though early on, you only have to lift your foot off the gas, and it could prevent you from getting a warning. You'll still get the track limit, but you'll get no time gained. Different angles into that corner there. You don't want to hit the curb there, it can unsettle the car. Then trying to get the power down on the way out. Just watching. Might get a pass coming up in a second. Keeping my eyes a couple of cars back from here. Yeah, just going to jump on board with Kenneth, who's trying to take Willie. I think Kenneth will also pass Nikos. Nikos is a back marker, so they're racing for position there. And Nikos, who's in front of them, car 21, the silver and black Porsche, I think is a lap down at the moment. We've had 2 retirements, Andreas and Michelle at the moment. So 2 cars have quit to the pitch, and obviously Wyman disappeared early on. There was 25, so we have lost another one. I'm not too sure who that is. Buckley, Stefan's gone as well. So we've lost 2 drivers and 2 are in the pits. Those once you're at the top 20, there's nothing to gain. Car 268's gone off track slightly. That is Bambraban. 314's off. That's Kai. Struggling getting on track actually. Nothing again, much moving on the track at the moment. Just jump forward to Carlo again, because Carlo is still trying to put pressure on Derek, but as I said, this is going to be difficult. Got two extremely fast drivers. We've seen Carlo just overcook it ever so slightly in a couple of corners. And I think every time he overcooks it, it just gives Derek that edge. I'm going to jump back in a minute. Got my eye on Bywater's getting closer to Jack. Then we are going to see a pass at some point. There's not many battles now close on the track. It's spread out pretty much, you can see from the track map. So like Derek went in quite deep there. Yeah, I think he did, didn't he? Carlo got a good drive, whereas I think Derek went a little bit too deep, as he put himself under attack here now indirectly as a result of going deep. All about drive here. Either Carlo just getting the power down. Very, very tidy, the pair of them through there, aren't they? Pleasure to watch. And different angles through there. Derek's just pulled away again, hasn't he, as I said. Neil's half a second behind Jack. So, again, we're talking a minute left. Are we going to see Neil jump Jack like I had a fortune of jumping Neil on the Sunday race? On last corner. He said he'd had to, he'd had full warning, so he didn't want to drive through. He was taking it easy. Anyway, he tried to defend and went around the outside, and I think he overran it. Or, it's got. This is the sort of story that it's got written all over it, to be honest. He's within 2 tenths here. Let's switch to helicam. Gonna get really, really close. Oh, that's very adventurous there. If you can keep the drive. Oh. Jacobs has overcooked it. Very similar to Sunday, if the truth be said there. Very similar. Well done, Neil. Really well done. The gap between Jack and the car behind was quite large, so I don't think Jeremy's going to catch Jack. But that was a bit of a saving grace. Quite a significant gap between Jack and Jeremy. Okay, so where's the action at now? Really struggling to find the action. Let's jump to, again, it's got to be Carlo. Derek's really put his foot down. He's over a second ahead now. And as we're into the last bit of the race, I'm going to jump on board with Mr. Bourne. Mr. Bourne's coming round the inner workings of the track. I think it's going to be the end of the race as Bourne finishes it. Monsanto might pass Willie, but no, he's just lost a bit of time there. I don't think there's going to be any more overtakes on track. Been no more incidents since as well. There is a minimum SA rating. I'm not sure what it is. I think it's something like 30. I could be wrong. And that's it. It looks like our winner. Consistently good racer is Mr. Bourne. Well done, Mr. Bourne, from One Leg Esports. I like that name. Obviously got Bird, Ambraban and Wood. Wood coming around the final corner. Very good race that. 4th place for Mr. Wood. And then a bit behind him is Mr. Pollitt. And then behind him we've got Paunov. And then Trowbridge. And then behind him, we've got really good race by Water coming from the back. And then Jack, who got who back end went as he's being caught by Neil there. Jeremy, nice steady race with Jeremy there. His car says otherwise, I think it's fair to say. Bruce Hopkins, it looks like his car's seen better days as well. He's going to keep the mechanics busy. Robert. Again, another car that might need a bit of sticking plaster. Dealov's already quit. Lingham's already quit. That's it. And that appears to be the end of the race, everybody. So thanks very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. And you'll hopefully see me tomorrow. Take care all.